Good. Let's go. Great. お願いします。
お願いします。
Okay, good. We'll just listen. And the feet on the ground. And shift in front of that. And shifting side to side. And so the rotation. Perfect. And again, so an open and close movement. And making it nice and flexible, taking it away through the spine. And just really engaging the arms, so bringing them up to the top and then roll through the center line. And just let the movement go any direction. Just include the arms in the movement. And just take it a nice deep breath in, reaching right up, hinging nice and slowly down, in and out, and curve up through the spine as you come up. And turn through one more time. And releasing the spine up, taking the arms out to the side. Dipping through the center line, releasing the head, neck, shoulders, spine as you go. And when you reach the ground, just release that a little bit. Nice and solid curling up. And then the next one the same, just let the arms curl around the head as you come down. Reach down in the same way. Just give the spine a little bit more freedom to move. And again, nice and slowly curling up, just pausing at the knees and flexing through the spine. There we go. And stretching up through the neck, looking up, looking down. looking left and right. And taking it to the shoulder. And circle it at the front. And mobilizing through the chin. And mobilizing freely in any direction. Good. Great. And sticking into the shoulders. Making it a little bit bigger each time, bringing the elbows into it. Circling over the arms. Change in direction, keeping them big. Make it a little bit smaller each time. And releasing the arms by the body. And then rolling the shoulders back. Releasing the arms out into a figure of 8. Yeah, and reaching up, open at the sides. And to the other side. And change. And one more. Great. And sticking to rotation with the elbows. Just open up both palms, give yourself a couple of seconds in the rotation, and release to the other side each time. Think about pressure out of the hands, pressure down the weight down into the feet. Good. And circle ribs. And change. Make that a little bit wider. Releasing the hips down. Just think first about lengthening, pressing into the knees, lengthen through the arms, press the shoulders a little bit into the ears. Up, and then just think about creating length through the spine, so pressing the ears away from the shoulders, lengthen through the tailbone, lengthen through the crown of the head. And then with nice deep breaths, just think about pushing one knee away, keep the length through the spine, looking over the opposite shoulder. Take a couple of seconds and then pull back to center. Just take it in your own time. And then just pulling back to the center. Again, keep the spine nice and long, press a little bit into the knees. And then just think about taking the leg either side. Just explore two directions, which is directly side to side, basically pressing the hip over the foot, and also a little bit to the back. So just play with it, lengthening through the leg, a slightly different angle, either directly over the hip, over the foot with the hip, or send the hip back a little bit, just a touch. Just slightly change the stretch. And then just think about getting a little bit lower with the hips, just about lower than the hips, just lower than the knees, and just kind of rocking through the hips a little bit. If it feels more comfortable, just take the feet a little bit wider, just a touch. And again, just explore two movements. One's directly side to side, and the other's like a track, like a figure of eight track through the hip. So, rolling one way if you go to the figure of eight, and then just ever so often switch the direction. Roll into the hip. So. Good. And then just find the center of the feet. Fix the hands into the ground a little bit. And then just going to walk the hands forward just enough so you feel the kind of stretch, lengthening through. And then just think about gently pulling the hips back. Create a bit of length through the back of the legs. Keep a little bit of a bend in the knee. Reach forward a little bit more and then make the body straight, go to the top of the body. Long, reaching back. Take a couple of deep breaths, really fill the lungs, fill the ribcage, expand and open. Walking the hands back, just level with the chest, and then just take one hand up, open up the torso. Reach up to the sky or the ceiling and just alternating each time. And try and feel the hips are active in the movement, so the hips basically create the raise, create the rotation, and the hand follows it. Good. And then just bring in the hands to the shin bone, really press into the feet, lengthen through the spine, and then feel you pulling the face out of the ground, pulling the chest up, coming up, and then just walk the feet back together, shake the legs out a little bit. And then just coming into the feet together, just bending the knees out a little bit, release them out. Just take it to that bottom bar and just a little bit of a bounce. Be careful here, don't put any stress on the knee. And then just to that top off, just a little bit of a pressure back. Again, don't put any too much stress on the knee. And then bringing the knees down and away. And lengthening back, pulling the toes up towards the face. And lengthening down, spreading the knees away. And lengthening back one more time. And then nice tight circles. And try and mobilize the ankles. Well, and switching direction. Okay, just placing one leg down, rolling out the ankle. Switching direction. Change the leg. Change direction. Okay. Taking the foot off, we'll bring the wrist into it as well. It's just rolling one way. Changing direction. And see like pointing out with the foot, pointing out with the fingers at the same time. And you can explore reaching out with the whole arm. You can just explore the fingertips, lengthening away. And then just think about scrunching the foot up, drawing the toes towards the center of the foot, squeezing the hands. And release them both out. And we'll do the same on the other side. Work the wrists again. And change direction. And pointing out with the toes, with the fingers. And scrunching up the foot, scrunching up the hands. And shake it out. And just pointing the feet shoulder width, we'll take it into some swings. So just starting with the arms. And down, straight down to the side of the hips. We feel all the time the weight in the feet. And just feel the quality of the contact with the foot in the ground. Notice if there feels like a difference between one and the other. And just try and get the feeling of the weight really even, both sides. And then just make it feel a little bit more dynamic. So really kind of stretch up to the top and then release out to the bottom. Stretch up to the top, create as much length as you can, and then release everything out. Try and feel a little bit like the fingers want to just brush the ground as you come down. And then just make the movement a little bit tighter each time, just coming back to a nice lengthened spine. Nice release shoulders. Again, releasing all the weight directly into the feet. So really think of a kind of vertical descent of the weight. Good. Then just let the arms release a little bit. Bring the arms out to the side, and we'll just go straight into a rotation with it. So again, just notice the first thing, just notice the quality of the contact with the feet, and again the weight distribution, especially as you go into that rotation. And then let the arms soften, come back to their sides. And then we'll take it front and back. Just first going into this kind of running motion. So really think about releasing the fingertips, the wrists, the elbows. Think about having a really heavy elbow, especially in the front swing. And feel the hip kind of guides the elbow down, back into the body. Just start to engage the spinal rotation, so the head, the spine, going to start to kind of find a new angle, a little bit wider. And just notice the weight in the feet as you start to increase the motion. And then try and feel that with the hands, you just find the center line of the body. And then that feels really that you're kind of drawing down into the feet. Raise up to the top. Right through the center line of the body. Just give yourself a second or two. Just in that top position, just feel the weight of the arms. Kind of feel that they're not being kind of held up, they're just kind of sunk or hanging down, which is a kind of strange quality to get, difficult quality to get. There's the tendency really to kind of hold the arms up. One kind of useful image in this case is imagine you've kind of got a bar that you're just hanging off. So in this case, the weight of the body is really draining down into the feet, and the arms are kind of in a center lengthening, getting tricky. No idea to get the body to go into. So now, if you can't stay there, or just take it out to a full circle, so you're just making it now more mobile. Keep again now the sense of the arms are just hanging off the body, as in the first one. And I've got that a little bit more complex motion, opening up the body side to side. And the two arms doing two different directions. And every so often just allows you to switch the direction. Good. Good. Okay, last one we'll do, just make it's like a kind of claw shape, like this, and then just play with keeping that shape, and just moving the arms through. So start with these kind of three ones, which is that one, this one, and then the one we've just done, this one. And just keep that sense you've got a kind of a little bit more of an active hand now. Try and keep the sense that the arms kind of stay loose, so the shoulders stay relaxed, but keep the sense of a kind of active hand. It's a nice, easy one to start with, the sense that you kind of make a claw kind of shape that we're kind of used to going into naturally. for the hand, very natural position in terms of clawing, grasping. And again, just go to keeping that movement, mixing these directions in, or just mixing in any movement really, as long as the arm's free. And as long as the feeling of the weight is down, and that you've got a little bit more focus on the hand now, just take it to any direction. That's it. That's it, very good. And then keep that going, keep the hands going, but just activate the feet now. So the easiest way to do this is just lift the heel off the ground. A little bit tricky if you've got tendon problems, but just play with, again, with the heel off the ground. Try and keep it as long as you can, also great for the balance. Play with going a little bit lower as well, but play with like an active foot, active hand. But again, trying to soften, especially in this case, the hips. Keep the hips soft and keep the shoulders soft, as in the previous exercises. If it gets a bit tricky, stop doing the claw hand and just release the arms and just play with the feet and the hips. And then once you've got that sense of them being able to soften the hip, bring the hand back into it. Or you can also just play with one side. It's also an easy way to do it. Very good. So, yeah, very good. Good. And then last one to finish, release the kind of shape in the hand and release the foot back into the ground. Just play with two kind of active movements now. The easiest one to think about in this case is like a slapping motion, but equally think about the back of the hand being able to do it as well. So just play with one motion. You can do this with the other hand and the kind of feedback, or you can just leave it out and just kind of go through. But think about now kind of really, again, going back to really a release body, and you've got just as little, only the necessary amount of tension now. So this play, the easiest ones to think about is a kind of slapping motion across, slapping motion diagonally down, but you can also think about the back of the hand kind of coming up and dropping in. This kind of motion coming in. And the key thing now, although the hand's going to take the focus, is really think about the elbow. Now it's connecting into the body. So you can use the same kind of motions using a heavy elbow, but in this case, just looking at the back of the hand as the point of focus. Very good. You can think about slaps, you can think about strikes, you can think about grasping, all these kind of motions. But the key things being grounded, being free from the body, being able to mobilize, and be functional in terms of the structure. And it's same exercise, just give yourself a little bit more focus by using objects in the space. So play with the feet also, that you can kind of move around with it, but just think about the same kind of motions. Again, you can think about kind of striking motions. You can think about slapping motions. You can also even think about kind of reaching out motions. They're all kind of the same kind of setup for the body. You can make it a little bit more active if you want, with the sense of a kind of slap or in the sense of a strike, and just playing with the feet each time, different positions. You've also got walls that you can touch. Just play with gently going into contact with them. Now, if you've got a punch bag, you can let rip. That's it. Very good. Okay, grab a 𝘭𝘠𝘦. Right, we'll just go straight into the first 𝘭𝘪𝘐. Just play with these three levels in terms of 𝘭𝘪𝘐. So just mix these in freely. One is just to let the sword come down. So just again, really focus on the weight down as you go. The second from that is just to find the horizontal line with the hip. And then the third is obviously going to the full 𝗧𝗪𝗡 and finding the focus. And just really mix them in free. If you feel that the connection starts to go in terms of losing the balance in the feet, balance in the front, just go to the sense that you can just drop in. Just explore this as a progression, but really the idea is to go in and out. And the thing that's always the same is the body work, so nothing changes in terms of the body. The lower body and the torso. It's just what's happening to the focus in the hands in this case. Good, that's it. We'll do one more, which is it's a kind of a really artificial. Well, they're all artificial exercises. This one especially. What you're going to do is just really to focus on the grounding of the center of the body. So think about coming to here. Think about landing the cut, but you don't finish the cut. So you don't allow the sword now to pass through the horizontal line now. So what you're looking for in this exercise is where the center and the hips basically reach into the ground. Okay. So what you're looking for here is not that the center, the hips don't find the ground and the sword basically takes over. You're looking for the hips to basically reach into the ground around about this kind of level. That's just the point before the focus comes into the cut. Okay. What we tend to learn as beginners is to link these two things together so that the feet, the hips, the hands go together. And that's a really artificial way of locking the body together. What you want to do is something a little bit more flexible, where the feet reach into the ground first, and then the hips land onto the feet. And then next stage will be that the hands come into focus. Just play with as you do it. The trick in this is I really need to go with the feeling that I'm making the cut, and I just need to stop it. I just need to slightly pause the hands. That's it. Okay, yeah. The problem, there's two problems with this exercise. The first one is this, that I start to basically focus here. So I do this kind of focus at the top. Don't focus yet the arms, so you're not focusing the arms, you're just softening so the hands are still soft in this point. So that's the kind of position here. And then you're only gonna have the focus at this point here, but in this case it's not to do that, basically to focus here. You could do that as an exercise, but in this case think about that kind of feeling. So don't focus the hands at all in this one. And it's a tricky exercise, but it's a nice one to get the sense of when, in terms of the timing, when the hips reach into the ground and start to settle. That's it. Yeah. That's it. Good. Okay, and then we're going to just focus on that last part, of that 7% of the cut that we haven't kind of finished with. So you're in this position. Think about raising to that point where you are, and then think about again the hips and the body basically find the ground first, and then there's a kind of ripple down into the sword. So what you're looking for again is not to be locked together with the hip and the hands, but for the hips to basically release underneath the weapon, find the ground, and then the hands come into it. Play with two things, being soft with it and also being a bit sharper with it, which sounds contradictory, which they are. But just play with it. Sometimes do this really get in a soft way, And the key thing with the soft one is to really feel the kind of softness in the movement. The sharp one is really a kind of test of it. So the main thing I'm looking for now is that the hands don't take over. And you'll notice straight away that the body will start to come out. But just think of a kind of a ripple down. So you're looking to reach into the ground first with the hips, draw the sword down. So it's that last kind of 5, 7, 10% of the cut of the movement. Good. And there we go. So just play, again, it's a tricky one to do with the sword, but just play with a really simple exercise, which is shoulder width apart with the hands in this position. And it's a different quality of movement to do something like this and drive the arms down than it is to release the hips, find the ground with them, and then the arms get drawn down by them. So the key connection in this case is actually the elbow. So again, if all my focus is on the grip and on the sword being out, everything gets pushed down. So what you want to think about is as the hip drops into the feet, that the elbow gets pulled down with it, and as that happens, the sword gets dropped down with it. Okay? So you're looking to basically just reach the ground and let the sword follow. So reach the ground and let the sword follow. And it should also be a kind of relaxed movement as well. What I don't do is like any real tension in the body, especially with this exercise. So think about this just like, boom, just dropping into the feet. And the feet should feel really heavy, but I should still be able to mobilize the hips and the knees. So you're looking for a grounding, which is a release into the ground, basically, and drawing the sword down with it. So it's a really simple exercise, but one will really get the feeling, catch the feeling, and then you can transfer it into the slightly more complex exercise. Good. And then just play the same foot position with the hands now, so a little bit more complex. Think about, again, that kind of raise, gentle raise up, keep the hips down, and then just increase the reach into the ground. So you're just going to reach into the ground, and again, just play with the sword. Now, really play with it so that you can let the sword drop down, reach the ground. You can let it settle on the center line, or you can let it focus into it. Again, the key thing is the arms don't take over the movement now. Let the center of the body dictate the rest of the body. Especially now the hands. And a really much trickier position in terms of the structure of the arms to get the sense of the elbow dropping in, but that's really the work in this exercise. You've got a real release down, and it's a kind of flexible release of the body. Very good. And then just feel free to come in and out of those progressions. So this one, just this one. And now if you won't go to the full 𝗧𝗪𝗓, so with the right foot forward, reaching the back and dropping it. And then just give yourself space. Again, you can go into this one. You can go into that one. You can go into this one. Or you can go into the full 𝗧𝗪𝗓. But again, it's just trying to catch that feeling. Keep it center reaching the ground. Just before the sword starts to engage into the cut. You're really looking for a really clear foundation for the sword to drop into. Once you've kind of caught the feeling, just stick with the full 𝗧𝗪𝗓 for as long as you can. That's it. Yeah, very good. Very good. Now, as you go into full 𝗧𝗪𝗓 with it each time, focus again back into the feet. So really focus on, in this case, the weight really entering the left foot and then really finding 50-50. Now, notice one thing, especially with this one, is that I pull to the back foot and then maybe I do something like this. I really push much more weight into the front foot than the back. So look for something where I've got 100% in the weight, and then I keep all that weight in the back foot as I transfer into the front. Okay, so there's no real sense of shifting forward and then having to settle back. You're already in the back foot, so just keep it down and shift the center over the middle of the feet. And really looking for something balanced, as balanced as you can each time. Great. Very good. And then we'll take this as Zengo. So that same kind of shift. Now you're really planting the foot, plant the foot down and then engage 50-50. So as you transfer, the weight shifts really 100% to this one, 100% to this one, and then shift. So it's really now a translation of the weight across the feet. You also got the rotation and everything else happening, but just for the moment, focus on the footwork, reaching into the ground. Yeah. Great. Good, and then we'll take it to the 𝘧𝗪𝗡. So looking at the 𝘥𝘢𝘦𝘢, just play with a couple of steps each time. So find the ground here, and then think about the center again, releasing into the feet. So really now a compression to the foot, and it's one of going forwards and releasing the foot. As you do that, you're circling the 𝘧𝗪𝗡, and then again finding the ground. So it's really now the practice of rolling the center over the foot and just allowing the foot to receive the movement, receive the step. And obviously at the same time, you've got the raise and the cut. But again, first you just notice the feet, notice the quality of the contact with the ground through the foot. And then you're really looking for something like dynamic balance through the step, through the movement. So it's a problem with 𝘧𝗪𝗡, especially this one, where it becomes really like a repetitive thing. So just play with one exercise, which is to break the cuts down. Use an object in this case. I'm using just the bell to work with. Play with both sides. You're going to start in the right foot forward and play with just stepping in. So you get a really clear focus, just one attack, and then coming back. And then choose the other foot. And then just go into the attack. And then pull back. So each one is just one movement, one cut. And nice and focused, have a really clear target. And you're looking to just move the body in now. So Bring the whole body together with the focus to just moving. You can be as clean as you can in the movement. There we go. Good. And that's it. We'll just look at number 7 as a movement. So in this case, start always with the left foot. You go into the target with the right side cut, and then you're going to release into the left side ski, working with a thrust. So it's just working left side for now. And this is the biggest kind of spiral movement we've got in terms of the 𝘧𝗪𝗞𝗜𝗠𝗠 work here. And then just think about releasing down into a spiral. So you've got the standard 𝘥𝘢𝘠𝘦𝘦, and then transferring the hip. Good. Nice, good. Last 30 seconds or so, just play with this on the spot, but it's just to come in slowly here into 1 and then into the ski. So keep the target, but don't now work on the forward motion, just cut into the ski, pause at the ski, and then release the body again. Cut in, thrust to the side. Cut in on the right, resting on the left. And just take this nice and slow, so just looking to coordinate. And like feeling as the center just hugs the ground all the time. So you can take this into a fluid exercise if you want it, if you have time. You take this into a really immobilized exercise, but just the last 20 seconds or so. That's that. That's that. Okay. Good. Okay, we will stop right now. Very good. Great. どうもありがとうございました。
どうもありがとうございました。
Oh.